Good morning, everybody. It's Amy Bennett from the AM Show. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad I'm here because I was not here on Friday. As I said last week, I was in the Charleston, South Carolina area on vacation, and then Friday morning we left, not really early, but pretty early, Friday morning, and drove back, and oh my gosh, thankful to be here because oh my gosh, the rain coming out of Charleston was insane. I was driving like a little old lady stuck to my car. I could only see like 2 car lengths in front of me. People had flashers on. There were some people getting off the side of the road, and I was on an interstate like that. The speed limit was like 70 miles an hour, and none of us, of course, were going 70, but I'm just grateful to be here and grateful to be back. We had a good weekend, pretty low-key. So glad to be back. And I hope you guys had a great weekend. This morning, I'll be honest, I just have a little bit of a heavy heart. So, and I'm just praying that God will give me the right words to say here because I have a lot of different thoughts that I could share. But I just want to, share from my heart. So we had in our town, there was a suicide, and it was, I don't know, it was just terrible. There was a suicide and it was just terrible. And I think it's affecting me a lot because I actually drove up on the scene, coming back. Jacob had, we came back from the beach on Friday because Jacob had a therapy appointment, Friday afternoon. And while we were coming back, we came upon the scene. There was just fire trucks, there was ambulance, there were police, and at first we thought it was a wreck, but we saw some crime scene tape around a house, and one of the fire trucks was actually in the yard of one of the houses. So I told Jacob, I was like, it's not a wreck. I don't know what's going on there, but it's not a wreck. So we went by, and of course, on good old Facebook, found out what happened, and there had been a suicide, and it was just, it's just terrible anytime, but it's just such a sense of sadness, that it has to get to that point, and I don't know, it just makes, it made me want to go from door to door to door to door of my town and to say, Jesus loves you, Jesus sees you, and you're not alone, and you're not living this life alone, and there's somebody that cares about you. And so I was taken this morning, just had all of these thoughts kind of in my mind this weekend, and this morning I was just taken to John 1, and Jesus had a beautiful reminder for me there, and I think he wants to share it with you, because maybe I could go door to door to door to door, but I have this door for us this morning, and I think that, he has just a reminder for all of us today. And this is when Jesus is calling his first disciples, and Philip goes and gets Nathaniel, and he wants him to come meet Jesus. And when Jesus saw it, so I'm reading John 1, 47. When Jesus saw Nathanael approaching, he said of him, "Here is a true Israelite, in whom there is nothing false." He had never met this guy. Obviously we know that Jesus knows, but Jesus and Nathanael had never met on earth. And he comes, Nathanael comes walking up, and Jesus says, "Here is a true Israelite, in whom there is nothing false." And of course Nathanael's response is, "How do you know me? We've never met. How do you know me? Do you know my family? Have you heard about me? How do you know anything about me?" And Jesus answered, "I saw you while you were still under the fig tree before Philip called you." And so he tells him he saw him where he was sitting before he came to him. So there was no way that Jesus would have known that he was sitting under a fig tree when Philip came to see him, but he was still walking up, so nobody had a chance to tell him where he came from. And immediately Jesus tells him where he was. He was under the fig tree, and it clicks with Nathanael, and Nathanael says, he declares actually, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God, you are the King of Israel." And Jesus tells him, "You believe because I told you I saw you under the fig tree. You shall see greater things than that." So Jesus basically does a miracle here, and sees where Nathanael was before he came to him, and that's a miracle to Nathanael. And of course we know that Jesus does many more miracles to help people believe and know that he is the Son of God. And the thing though that I think that God wants us to remember today, he wanted me to remember, and he wants you to remember, is that he sees you. He sees you today. He would say, you know, maybe before watching this, he would say, Amy, I saw you in your bathroom getting ready, and I saw you, you know, writing in your journal this morning, and I saw you this weekend, you know, when you drove by that scene, and I was there. I was there because I saw. And what would he say for you? You know, I saw you before you were watching this video when you were ... Like, he saw you. And I don't say that to say like he's like Santa Claus. Oh, he sees you and sees what you're doing wrong. That's not the kind of I saw you I'm talking about. I'm not trying to scare you into, I don't know, feeling bad for something that you're doing. I'm just saying he sees you in your hurt. He sees you in your pain. He sees you, he sees the tears when nobody else sees them. He sees the longings of your hearts. He sees the cries of your hearts. He sees the worry in your hearts. He sees you all the way down, not just where you were sitting and what you were doing, but he sees you all the way down into your heart. And I'm saying that because you're not alone. And that's what, like, that's what I wish everybody would get, like, truly see, is that they would have that encounter with Christ and know that they are not alone. You're not alone because God sees you. And you know, he says, search for me and you'll find me. Search for me and you'll find me. And I have found that it's, you know, God pursues us. God pursues us. He will, if you're paying attention, God is pursuing you. But so often we have to reach out to him. We have to reach out to him and say, help me in my lostness, in my hurt, and he will answer every single time. And sometimes I'll just tell you, it doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen the way we think. Sometimes, you know, he answers through another person. Sometimes he answers through a billboard. You see something. Sometimes you'll see something on Facebook. He answers in all kind of different ways. Sometimes he answers with a feather on the ground. But he does see us, and he is with us, and he sees where we are right now in our hurt and our worries and our pain. And so I just want to remind us of that today, is that we're not alone. We're not alone. And man, my heart goes out to, I don't know if they've even identified the guy in our town, but my heart goes out to their family once they know. And it's just, I don't know. I just want to remind us all that we're not alone today, and that God sees you, and that he's there for whatever you're going through. Whatever you're going through, you do not have to walk alone. So, yeah, we can do this life, even when no one else on earth seems to care. God cares. We have somebody that cares very much. So, let me say good morning to Darian and Teresa, and if anybody else is watching, I'd love for you to say good morning and let me know where you're watching from. I don't ask that a whole lot, but I would love to know where you're watching from. One other thing that I wanted to tell you guys that was really exciting from this weekend, one of the things that I worked on, is that this morning video is now getting pushed out to YouTube. Yay! So I've had requests actually from people who say, I don't get on Facebook every day. You know, Facebook isn't alerting me to when you're going live, and I need a different way to view it. And so one of the ways people have requested is through YouTube. And so I figured out this whole automated system that once I go live here and it finishes, it will automatically upload to YouTube. So I created an Abiding Ministries YouTube channel. So I think I have one subscriber, and it's me. It's my personal account that's liking my Abiding Ministries account. So go subscribe. Go subscribe on YouTube. and you will be able to watch from there. You can of course share, you can always share from Facebook Live, but if you want to share a YouTube video that's more accessible. I have some friends that aren't on Facebook at all, so maybe if you want to share with a friend that's not on Facebook, you'll have a great link and video to be able to do that. So, and I'm working on getting all the Feathers podcast episodes uploaded as a video, so if you want to watch on YouTube for whatever reason instead of like a podcast app or whatever, some people prefer to do things on, you know, just on a desktop online or whatever, they'll be on YouTube. So that's exciting stuff. So it's getting out there in different places for people to watch. So Teresa, I see that you're saying that you are watching from Ashland City, Tennessee. That is exciting. Scott is actually going to Tennessee next week. He is going to, I think he's going to Nashville for a DRE. I think it's a drug reinforcement. I don't know, something with drugs. DRE conference with work. So he will be in the Tennessee area next week. All right, guys. I am going to head off here. I've been out of work for a couple days, so I've got to jump back into things. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to tell you, is that I'm really jumping back into work because we have a implementation. Basically, I have to be online at work at 9 o'clock tonight, and it's scheduled to last until 1 a.m. tonight, and almost always that goes later than we're planning. So best case scenario, it's 1 a.m. will be done. Worst case scenario, I've seen, I don't know, really late into the night. So I will likely not, I mean, unless things go better than planned, I will likely not be on tomorrow morning because I will have been working from now until probably 1 a.m. tonight. So I will be zonked tomorrow. So if you could just pray for that to go well, I would so appreciate that. I don't have to do this very often, but tonight's one of them. So part of the job. So, all right, I saw Debbie join before I jumped off here. So good morning, Debbie. Good to see you on here. All right, I'm gonna go get started with my work day. You guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget that God sees you and you're not alone today. All right, love you guys. Bye.